In this video, we'll discuss 8 tips for performing well on stage. The last thing anyone wants is to get on stage, take a deep breath, and then stumble over the first few lines of a song. The thought of that, frankly, is enough to make people incredibly nervous before a performance. So it's important for singers, really of any skill level, to sit down and prepare themselves for the stage. Let's discuss 8 steps for making sure you have a great singing performance. Tip 1, learn the space in rehearsals. Before you ever get on stage, you should have time to review the space and get to know it, if at all possible. The last thing you want is to trip over a wire or stumble on stairs because you're not sure what the stage even looks like. Even if you're playing a last-minute gig, try to get 10 or 15 minutes of time on stage or at the venue so you can prepare for the space you have. Tip 2, practice incessantly. This goes without saying, but you should be so well prepared with the material that you could sing it in your sleep. There's no such thing as over-preparing when it comes to a live show. Just be sure you don't hurt your voice, of course. Tip 3, arrive early and map out any changes. If you were on stage 3 weeks ago but haven't seen the space since then, get in there and review what to expect at showtime. Sometimes stage placements, setups, curtain arrangements can change at the last minute. Maybe the monitor situation changed, or there's a different sound guy you should get to know. Things change. Tip 4, relax in peace before the performance. Find the green room and relax. If there is no green room, hide in your car for a few minutes, wherever. Complete silence and time alone with a little bit of quiet is highly recommended because you got to be ready for what comes next. Eat a small meal well before the show. Practice some of your breathing. Go through a few warm-ups. Keep your voice limber. Okay, those are the pre-performance tips. Let's talk about 3 more tips here for when you actually get on the stage. Tip 5, interact with your audience. When you get on stage, the audience should be the central focus of everything you do. Don't look over their heads unless that's the only thing keeping you holding it together. Make eye contact, smile if that works, feed off that energy. Your entire performance should focus on creating a relationship between you and the audience. When you stop singing, they of course reward you with praise and you soak it up, reciprocating the appreciation. When you perform, they listen and you should reward them with eye contact and interaction. Always remember that you're emotionally responsible for the audience and it's your job to keep the vibe up. Tip 6, work with the energy in the room. There will always be a vibe during your performance. It's hard to explain, but when you get on stage, you'll feel it. When things go wrong, look for one person having a good time. Focus on that one positive point and feed off that energy. A lot of performers will give up emotionally halfway through a performance when the audience isn't reacting positively. And this, of course, feeds on itself and only gets worse. Find a positive point, focus on it intensely, and build from there. A little story here. When INXS was getting started, singer Michael Hutchence would remove his contact lenses so he couldn't actually see the audience in case somebody yawned or looked bored. So the point is, you should do anything you can to stay positive, even if you don't feel like it. Sometimes you just have to sell it when you're up there on stage. Tip 7, have contingencies if anything goes wrong. Always be ready if something should go wrong. It's going to happen. If you play guitar, have a second one available, have a backup in case you break a string. If you need a sound check, make sure you're there early enough to get it done. Sound checks are important if you can get them. Have an extra mic cable or batteries if you use a wireless mic or in-ear monitors. It's hard to think of everything, of course, and most of the time the worst case scenario doesn't come to pass, but being prepared will certainly give you a peace of mind, and that's super important. Tip 8, final tip here. Last tip, just be yourself. This is the culmination, of everything you've worked for. Don't feel like you should change yourself or your mannerisms or style to fit the audience. Show them you're confident in your abilities, and inner confidence will have a profound impact on people listening. Being on stage in front of a live audience is likely one of the hardest things you'll ever do as a singer, right? It's incredibly demanding, requiring you to invest every ounce of your emotional and physical energy. into the songs. That's your job. At the same time, it is incredibly rewarding. If you've had the pleasure of being up there before, you know how rewarding it can be when people applaud your efforts, justifying all the hard work. It may be a long road and a lot of hard work, but it's completely worth it when you get up there and control the energy of the room. There really is no other feeling quite like it. It can be intoxicating. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope these 8 tips have given you some ideas to be more prepared next time or your first time on stage. And that's the key to the whole thing, preparation. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time.